Hello, BookTube. Who's up for a mail haul? And this time, a nice, calm, sedate mail haul. We'll start with this one. Calm and sedate. What have we here? Oh, very nice. This is Venetian Blood. Murder in a Sensuous City. Oh my. Okay, this is by Christine Evelyn Volker, and it is from She Writes Press. Let's see here. What is the... Set in 1990s. Struggling to forget a crumbling marriage, 40-year-old Anna comes to Venice to visit an old friend, but instead of finding solace, she is dragged into a police station and accused of murdering a money-laundering count with whom she had a brief affair. Who of us hasn't been there? In the days that follow, Anna, a U.S. Treasury officer with brains and athleticism, fights to clear her name in a seductive city of watery illusions. But as she tries to pry clues from a cast of uncooperative characters who implausibly deny what she sees and hears, she begins to question whether or not they are hiding something. Okay, a Venetian murder mystery. I am right on board. Good way to start. All right, let's see what this next one is. What have we here? Okay, this is a novel called Kings of Broken Things by Theodore Wheeler. Kind of a neat cover. I kind of like that cover. Who is he when he's at home? He's a reporter who covers civil law and politics in Omaha, where he lives with his wife and 2 daughters. His fiction has been featured in New American Voices, Stories from the Midwest, Southern Review, the Kenyon Review, and has received a special mention in Pushcart Prize. He's a graduate of an MFA program, and he's won some literary awards. Okay. And his only previous book was Bad Faith, which was a collection of short stories. So this is his first novel. Interesting. Good for him. All right, so this comes out on the 1st of August is the date on it. My August shelf is filling up terrifyingly fast. That thing is just, it's freakish. So what have we got here? During the waning years of World War I, a historical novel? All right. 3 lost souls find themselves adrift in Omaha, Nebraska at a time of unprecedented nationalism, xenophobia, and political corruption. Adolescent European refugee Carol's life is transformed after neighborhood boys discover his prodigious natural talent for baseball. Jake Strauss, a young man with a violent past and a desperate for a second chance, is drawn into a criminal underworld. Evie Chambers, a kept woman, is trying to make ends meet and looking every which way to escape her cheerless existence. As wounded soldiers return home from the front and black migrant workers move north in search of economic opportunity, the immigrant wards of Omaha become a tinderbox of racial resentment stoked by unscrupulous politicians. Interesting. So that is going to be a sort of a keyhole look at the Omaha of a century ago through the experiences of 3 different people. And that's fascinating on a couple of levels. Oh my. Oh, great. Okay. Fantastic. I'm unfamiliar with this author, unfamiliar with his previous book, and also, I must admit, unfamiliar with the history of Omaha. So, all right. We're doing just fine. We've had no explosions. We're doing just fine. Let's see what this next one is. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I've been looking forward to this. This is The Last Man Who Knew Everything. It is a biography of Enrico Fermi. Let's see here. Enrico Fermi dominates the history of 20th century physics. He was a pivotal figure in America's top-secret effort to develop the world's first atomic bomb, and his impact is felt across virtually every aspect of the field of physics. Straddling the ages of classical physics and quantum mechanics, equally at ease with theory and experiment, Fermi was truly the last man who knew everything, at least about physics. This book weaves a fascinating biography of a brilliant but complex genius, set against the background of both world wars and extraordinary scientific progress. Fermi's dramatic career began in fascist Italy, where he made legendary contributions to the quantum field theory and condensed matter physics. Some condensed matter physics happening in the very back of my refrigerator that I really need to deal with. I don't think it's quite the same, but you never know. Could be equally dangerous. Beloved by his students and colleagues, he was nevertheless a morally ambiguous figure who was a member of Mussolini's fascist party, though he would later turn against it. Okay, so this comes out in December, early December, and the first thing I admit was looking ahead in catalogs and online. The first thing I noticed was the cover. That is for a substantial, serious biography of a pivotal 20th century character. That is one heck of a cover. All right, so we've got a biography of Rico Fairy. Okay, good. Then we move on. Let's see what this next one is. This is, what are these? These are, oh my, this whole pile is only UPS. So that means that the mail hasn't come yet. Could be more books. Uh-oh, oh my. I sense an Olive book. This is called Death in St. Petersburg by Tasha Alexander. In this, she continues to wow fans of her Lady Emily series, featuring lush historical descriptions and a brilliant, charming central character who bucks Victorian England's rules for high society women. After the final curtain of Swan Lake in this new novel, an animated crowd exits the Mariinsky Theater brimming with excitement from the night's performance. But outside, the scene is somber. A ballerina's body lies face down in the snow, blood splattered like rose petals over the costume of the Swan Queen. The crowd is silenced by a single cry. Nemetseva is dead! Oh my. All right, so, and of course in the audience is Lady Emily. So this is, I don't know how many of you know this series. I've read a couple of them. This is going to be fun. This is Natasha Alexander knows how to spin a good murder mystery. So, A Death in St. Petersburg comes out in October. Then we've got this one here. No major aggravations or disappointments so far. Very nice. Very nice. Next one is from Da Capo Press. By Nicholas Pister. Not something that I requested. It comes out in September. And it is called Shooting Lincoln. Matthew Brady, Alexander Gardner, and the race to photograph the story of the century. Hence the pun. Hey, slightly bad taste pun on Shooting Lincoln. Okay. Matthew Brady and Alex Gardner were the new media moguls of their day. Together they brought the Civil War and all of its terrible suffering into northern living rooms. Newspapers sold out when they ran their photos, and by the end of the war they were locked in fierce competition. When the biggest story of the century, Lincoln's assassination, broke, their paparazzi-like race intensified. Whoever could take the most sensational or ghastly photo would achieve lasting fame. Shooting Lincoln tells the astonishing behind-the-photograph story of these two media pioneers who raced to shoot Lincoln in the days after he died, and the assassins on the day they died. The photos they took electrified the country and fed America's growing appetite for tabloid-like sensationalism in the news. But what does that mean? There were no photographs of Lincoln. I mean, there were photographs of his funeral cortege and of his doctored corpse lying in state, but there were no photographs that night, at Ford's Theater. Were there? I now kind of want to know. So I'm kind of ruining surprise here by looking ahead. But I know there weren't. I know there weren't. It'd be the most famous picture in the world if it were. No, there'll be pictures of the chair and there'll be pictures of the door, but there was no photographer in the room when Lincoln spent the night dying. Still, that's kind of interesting. And then we have the last one. We're at the last one here. I have many other videos to make, but for now we'll deal with this one. Oh. Oh, oh my. All right, this comes out in October. It's by Stepen Mitchell. It is a new translation of Beowulf. Oh my. Okay. So it's got the facing pages, the dual pages, so that you've got the Old English and the Modern English, uh, and it's by Stepen Mitchell, who is a prolific translator. He's translated the Tao Te Ching. He sold the Gospel According to Jesus, Gilgamesh, the Iliad. Uh, hmm. uh, if the definition of a superhero is someone who uses his special powers to fight evil, then Beowulf is our first English superhero story, and arguably our best. It features not one, not two, but three monsters. It also is also a deeply pious poem, so bold in its reverence for a virtuous pagan past that it teeters on the edge of heresy. From beginning to end, we feel we are in the hands of a master storyteller. Okay, so we have a new translation of Beowulf, which is a big enough deal, standalone, so that I bet this gets reviewed widely. That I say standalone because there was just recently a gigantic volume of all the Old English poetry that we have translated into English, and the Beowulf version in there was superb, just superb. But the book itself was over 1,000 pages long. It weighed 90 pounds. It cost a fortune, and I guess that's probably why it wasn't widely reviewed. Something like this, much smaller, and one famous poem, be willing to get lots of press. We'll see. I might even be one of the reviewers myself. So there we have it. We have a new translation of Beowulf. We have Death in St. Petersburg. We have Shooting Lincoln. We have The Last Man Who Knew Everything about Rico Fairy. We have Kings of Broken Things, a debut novel. And we have Venetian Blood, a murder mystery set in relatively contemporary mid-century Venice. Very nice. And no ranting and raving. See, so it can be done. So I'll sign off now, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.